Okay, welcome everyone. It's 1 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're here broadcasting social media and marketing for farmers with Erica Shambley of VSU. And I'm going to start off with a few technical logistics, and then I'll pass it to Kim Nawalny, the director of the Virginia Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coalition, to introduce Erica. And also I'm Katie Trazo, the coordinator of the Virginia Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coalition. So a few technical logistics. This is a Zoom webinar, so it's different than a Zoom meeting in that it's normal that you won't see your video or be able to share any of your audio. So it's just the speakers presenting and sharing with you. Also wanted to share a little bit of tech support we have available. Garland Mason, an associate at Virginia Tech, is available in the chat, also via email at garlandm@vt.edu. Garland will put that information in the chat now. In case you need her, feel free to reach out. Also, we wanted to make folks aware that we have machine live captioning available. You can access that by clicking the CC closed caption button at the bottom of your Zoom pane. And you can either watch the subtitles, you can click that option, or you can click view full transcript and it will appear kind of like the chat appears in your Zoom platform. Also, if you found that they're automatically appearing and you don't want them to show, you can go to that CC button and you have the opportunity to turn them off as well there. And lastly, we are recording the webinar, and that will be posted on both the Virginia Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coalition's website, as well as the Virginia Association for Biological Farming, their website as well. And you can join both of the organizations' newsletters and listservs if you would like to be able to stay in the loop with that. Garland will put that in the chat. Lastly, we will have Erica share, and then afterwards we'll be able to do some Q&A. And we just ask that people type their questions for Erica in the Q&A feature rather than the chat feature. You're welcome to use the chat feature for commentary or technical questions, but if you have a question you want to make sure gets to Erica, your best bet is to make sure to just put it into that Q&A button icon in Zoom. And with that, I'll pass it over to Kim.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie, and welcome everyone for joining us today. I have the absolute privilege to introduce our speaker for our webinar, Erica Shambley. Thank you, Erica, so much for joining us. It's just so wonderful to have you here. I have just a little introduction to share with our audience so they get to know a little bit more about you and your work. And I'm personally excited because all of the things that you're going to be talking about is not only super helpful for all of our farmers, but for all of us who are working in kind of the social media digital world and how we can better communicate. So I'm very pleased to learn from you today. So with that, Erica Shambley is a digital marketer with an extensive experience coordinating, strategizing, building, and executing and maintaining successful digital and social media and marketing campaigns. So you can see why I'm excited. She began working as a social media consultant in 2011 and continues to provide social media advertising and web management services for a wide range of small businesses across the country. Last year, she graduated with her master's degree in media management from Virginia State University. Erica currently is with VSU's College of Agriculture as of 2015 as the college's first digital marketing manager. In 2019, she was promoted to her current position as an assistant director of marketing and communications in the communications department for the college. In this role, she continues to direct and manage all of the digital marketing and social media for Cooperative Extension program at VSU, as well as for the university's Agricultural Research Station. So during her 5.5 years with the College of Agriculture's Marketing and Communications Department, Erica has worked closely with farmers and agriculture teachers. She has become well-versed in marketing challenges that they face very uniquely. She also has seen firsthand how social media marketing can be an economic game changer in helping small farmers reach their audiences and meeting their goals to make sure their food products make a positive impact on their particular bottom line. So with that, Erica, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Kim. So yes, hi everyone, I am Erica, and today we will be talking about my favorite subject, social media and marketing. Okay, so just a quick overview of some of the high-level areas that I want to touch on today will be social strategy. So we'll get into that, what that is and why it's important. Also, I want to discuss some key platforms, social media platforms that farmers should be on in 2021. Also, I have some tips for posting and planning. We will discuss algorithm, how exciting, and it's not so scary once we start talking about it. Also, after all of those points, we will get into measuring for success because, of course, you want to go in this with the goal in mind and measure that goal. And then we'll leave some time at the end for questions and answers. So I want you to ask yourself, what do you hope to gain from social media? When you're using it as a farmer or for your farm business, it's not just, hey, I want to chit chat with my friends, although that's still a fun part of it. But what else do you hope to gain? Is it you want customers? Do you want people in the local community to know about you and engage with you? So what is your overall hope? I also want to begin with just some of the latest stats, and my apologies if this appear a bit blurry, but this was published by Hootsuite, and they got the data from a survey that comes out every year. But as you can see, 4.2 billion people are active on social media daily. That is a huge increase from last year. And I would like to speculate, although I did not do the research, but I would like to speculate a lot of that have to do with COVID. And we are gravitating to this digital world now. As you can see, 53.6% of the global population is on social media. And 4.15 billion people are using their mobile devices on social media. So why is that important to you? That says that your customers and people that you want to engage with are on the internet, they're on social media, and they are waiting for you to engage with them. On this chart here, you can see as of January 2021, finding information is the #1 reason people between 16 and 64 use the internet. That's a big deal. So they're using not just Google, but other social sites to now do research on you. So if they come across your brand at farmers markets or see it somewhere or run into you at an event, the first thing they're doing now is going on social media to look for your page to engage with you. Also, top of the list, you have here researching health and healthcare products, business-related research, finding new ideas and inspiration. So needless to say, most of those people that we discussed who are on the internet, they're looking for you and you need to be there for them to find you. So whether you're using social media already or you plan to get on some of the platforms, you want to start with creating an effective social media strategy. With this strategy, you start by making SMART goals. So basically a goal that is true and you can measure it. For example, we will use Facebook and Instagram to connect with our local community and convert those followers into customers at our farmers market this spring. That is a real goal. That is something that you can measure. That is something that you can go into if you know, okay, so if I live in Chesterfield County and I want people in Chesterfield County, I know how to find those people in Chesterfield County because ultimately I want those people who engage with me in Chesterfield County to come and purchase from me. So that leads into #2. You create your target audience for social media and you focus on them. So all of your farm businesses vary and what you sell, what you grow, it's different from another farm. So your plan is not going to be ideal as someone, is not going to be exactly the same as someone else. So you think about who are your demographics, what is their average income, what are their interests? And from there, you figure out what platforms they're on. So of course, if we think about an older audience based on the demographics, you'll find them on Facebook. If you are targeting younger Gen Zs, millennials, that's more of your TikTok, your Instagram folks. Okay, so now you have that in your strategy. Let's talk about how are you going to tell your story? How are you telling your story? So what is my voice and tone going to be on social media? What message do I want to send to people? So am I humorous? Do I want to win people's heart from humor? Are we serious? Are we warm? These are things that you have to think about. Also, what type of content can you realistically provide? So some of our phones these days are way better than a lot of these expensive DSLR cameras that you purchase. So maybe you know you have the capabilities of taking great photographs and videos, or maybe you are a words person. So if you're a words person, you'll focus more so your time on platforms such as Facebook, or just create amazing, engaging captions on Instagram. Okay, so in that strategy next, what is your posting schedule? How often are you actually capable of posting without being inconsistent? You don't have to post every single day. You just have to be consistent. If you stick to maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is realistic to me, then you just keep up with that and people will start to expect that you post on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The last thing you want to do is run out, create 3 posts a day for a whole week straight, and then disappear. A big part, social admins. Do you have someone who will have access to posting your accounts? How much help will you have? This is something to think about with your strategy and what you want to accomplish on your pages. And also, it's helpful to do a quick competitive analysis. So find other farms in your area or on social media that you like, that draw you in, and start to analyze what's successful on their page. Where do you see room for improvement? And put on a consumer lens when you do this and use this information to formulate how you plan to post. So if you see something that you really like, why did you like it? Was it that you got to see the person behind this farm brand? Was it that they told their history of how they became established? So think about things like that and how you can use that in your own strategy. And also, of course, find out where your audience is, so social platforms, the times that they're on, hashtags, locations, community pages, and groups. And we'll get into this later on in the presentation. Okay, I will not read this verbatim, but take a look at this screen. So I am focusing today on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, because they are still the top 4 major social media platforms that are out there, and they are places that farmers should be because your audience is there based on the data that is pulled. So Facebook is still number 1, 2.7 billion active users daily. The average US adult spends about 34 minutes a day on Facebook. And as of January 2021, men are most active and it's most popular in rural areas. So I would just say, in my personal opinion, if you don't do anything else, do Instagram and be good at Instagram. And being good at, Facebook. And being good at Facebook, like I said, does not mean that you are expected to post all day, every day. Just be effective and consistent. Next in line is Instagram, which is a visually driven social media app. Photographs, videos. Now people utilize stories, which is also on Facebook. And as you may know, Facebook and Instagram are the same company, so a lot of their features are similar. which will work out in your benefit because you could also cross-post to both. YouTube. So if you have time and you're into video, and maybe you have a skill set of videography, or someone that you work with could film you. And as I say, you could just use your basic phone. YouTube is somewhere you need to be with 2 billion active users there. People search YouTube as they would Google, although I know it's the same company, but YouTube is being used as that search engine. Titles with the word beginner were viewed 50 times more in 2020. So people go there to find information how to, and 74% of US adults use the platform. Then there's Twitter. Twitter is really for sharing information. If you see the top age demographic on this platform, 25 to 34 years old, and there's 187 million active users on there daily. So a top question I get all the time is, what is the best times to post? So when will I get the greatest engagement on my post? Of course, because you put in all that work, that effort, you want traction to those posts. So I pulled this quote, which I won't read verbatim, but from a well-known social media strategist with Hootsuite. He's basically saying it's best to post first thing in the morning, lunchtime, and after hours, after work hours. Those are usually when people are checking out their timelines on social media. So if you want an exact, or as exact as they can estimate, we have posting times here. So Facebook, 9:15 in the morning to 3:15 in the afternoon on weekdays. Instagram, that lunch hour, so that those lunch hours 11 to 3 or 7 to 8 in the evening. YouTube, they seem to get the highest engagement between 2 and 4 or 9 and 11 on weekends. And Twitter, if you choose to use that platform, is 9 to 12 on weekdays. But what you will find out is once you start posting consistently and you have your account set up as business accounts, you can look at your insights, and your insights will tell you when your unique followers are online and you follow that schedule. This is just a guideline that you can use. So what is a successful post? A successful post, to sum it up, is how you choose to tell your brand story. When people are on social media, especially as saturated as social media is today, they want to see engaging photographs, pleasing visuals, videos. It doesn't have to be professional, but just angles, just what does this story tell? What are you doing? Showcase your farm the way you see it through your eyes. Let the images tell your story. Maybe it's fresh dew on a tomato. Maybe it's a kid being birthed, children and grandchildren playing in the field, family and friends harvesting. So go back to your strategy. If you stick to your strategy and what your overall goals are for this page, it should be easy. So just natural things, how to capture the aesthetics of your farm, of your business. People love humanized information. So as I said, it is saturated. Lots of businesses are on social media. People want to connect with that person, that human side of your business. What are the behind the scenes? Maybe you could show us something cool. Think about that, have fun with it, make it aesthetically pleasing. A really good caption. So think about how you can draw in your audience with the dynamic caption. It could be as simple as talking about your eggs, make it personable. People want to know, feel like they know you or they can relate to you. Use hashtags and geolocations. So when you're doing your initial research or in your downtime, because hashtags change a lot, you want to start seeing, one, what hashtags are people in your immediate community using? Because those are the people that you want to initially attract. Or if you have an agritourism business and you want people who come into the state or that county, city to visit you, what are some of your state hashtags? So think bigger. Then once you start engaging and you see other successful farm pages, what hashtags are they using? So you would start to collect these. And a tip, as you see them, just go ahead, put them on a blank document. So it's just a matter of copy and paste. So you don't have to think about it every single time. You have your little hashtag pods. Also geolocation, as I said. Tag the county that you're in, the city, the state, when necessary, your farm, whenever possible. People use these to search. Engage with your followers. So you made this post, people are liking it, people are sending emojis, they're asking you questions. Don't go too long without answering those. And also the algorithm on social media love when they see engagement. So the more you engage back, you can float up the timeline so more people will see your posts. And this is just, we're discussing how to have a successful organic post. You want it to be successful organic first, even before we even talk about advertising, because you could put ad dollars behind the post, and if it's not a good post, you still won't get the traction that you expect. So some quick ideas that you could, content ideas for social media: post daily, weekly, if possible, pictures of what's going on at your farm. Post videos of your farm operation. People love those. Post as many original posts and reposts to your stories as you would like. So definitely take advantage of the Facebook and Instagram feature of stories. You could post, but you don't want to saturate people's timeline. You can get unfollows because it can be overwhelming. Just think about your email, the same person, just emails. It's a lot. So think about that. Post written updates about your farm, educational articles, facts, advertise, inform your followers about anything else you want them to know. So here's a really neat Instagram farm page. Now there are plenty, and I have plenty of examples, but I want to focus on this because it really plays into telling your story and being aesthetically pleasing. So this page is on Instagram, a short and sweet and to the point bio here. Also, everything looks nice, but it's telling a story. It's warm. It pulls on my heartstrings. And then even the captions, that's a dynamic caption, telling a short story of that moment. That makes me want to follow along and engage with them. And if they're in my local community, I want to see, are they selling where they're going to be? They really humanize that Instagram page. And on Facebook, I want to talk about Agriberry's Facebook page really quick. First thing that caught my eye, they did really well, is they have a very well-written bio. It's very keyword friendly. Also, they have all the information that a possible customer would need, their contact information, when they're open. They have their tag words here. We have some background information on how they got started. And they did it, it's nice, short and sweet. They're consistent. So they're not posting all day, every day, but they have consistent posts. The photos are visually appealing. The captions draw you in. They're like your friends on Facebook. So that's sort of what you want to go for on these social media platforms. All right, let's talk briefly about algorithms. Because the whole goal is these days in 2021, because it's saturated, we want to do what? We want to beat the algorithm. We want our followers that we work so hard to get to see the information that we're posting. So Facebook, some tips to think about when you're posting. Facebook does value and prioritize friends and family members over businesses, but if you get a lot of comments, so comments aren't, as I explained before, they're not just the followers' comments, but it's also you responding and you responding in a short period of time. So within that hour, if you're able to get back to their comment, Facebook does prioritize that and it helps your overall engagement and the number of reactions and variety of reactions. But the quickest way to get people to engage with you is you engage with them. It's like, I do you a favor, you do me a favor, and you're friends. It is social media. So you setting up that social network. So don't just post, you want to engage as well. Same with Instagram, highest number of likes, recent posts. You notice those are the ones that flow to the top of your timeline. Posts from profiles that your user normally engage with. So fun fact, if you notice on Instagram, pages that you view their stories or you've been to their page, you normally see those first because Instagram is like, hey, we like this page. So whatever they do, we want to show them. So with that being said, you want to promote more people to come to your page, even when you're out and about, even when you're at your farmers markets or your networking events, send people to your page because Instagram is going to track that. And now your content is going to be there, top in line on their timeline. Twitter, same thing, recent content posted recently with retweets and comments over likes. YouTube, if you're on YouTube, clicks on the video, how much time people spend watching the video, how many likes, dislikes, so AKA engagement, how quickly your video becomes popular, how new your video is, how often your channel uploads. So if you have a consistent schedule, usually you'll pop up in that recommendation. And of course, same, if people come to your page, YouTube are going to assume that they like your content and you'll show more, not only in their recommendations, but also their friends' recommendations. Okay, so we just discussed a lot. We discussed a lot on the platforms, how to post, how to create this dynamic social media strategy. You posted your wonderful posts on these platforms. Now you have to make sure that you're hitting your goals and not missing them because all of that hard work was done for nothing. So depending on your own goals, you may measure these weekly, monthly, quarterly. So take a look at each platform has their own internal analytics. So you don't even, unless you want to get fancy and start using a third party such as Hootsuite or Buffer or Later and much more, you can just use the app's analytics and insights and they're just as good. So download and record those analytics at your regular intervals that you decide. Choose what's important to you. So like Facebook, you can see what type of content gets the most engagement. So you can see if your videos are more successful, if the links that you share, so if you're one of those pages that would share, let's say you like to share morning ad clips, and then you add your own spin to the caption, and those always do well. And you can play let's say you have an event, you can always play those into your own content. But if those are really successful for you, take note of that and then see what's not really working. You tried it, it's not really working. Maybe you try to do, whenever you take photos of the chickens this certain way, they don't do too well. So maybe you could start phasing out how you do that. And this is to make sure you're not wasting time, you're most effective on social media. And you could create a spreadsheet with your goals, your metrics, how you'll be measuring it, and then put those down and see if you're being successful. After this, I will try to get out a list of resources, well, a Google Drive. And in that Google Drive, I do have a template that you can use and you can tweak so you can start putting those numbers in. And this also will be helpful when you do get to the point, if you're ready to do ads and advertising, you can see what's working so you can get the bang for your buck when you start doing advertising. Okay, so that was a lot. We're all hardworking people. So it's like, how do I possibly have time to do all of those things to be successful on social media? So first things first, as I said before, you do not have to be on all platforms. You want to be where your audience is. You want to be where you think you can get the most for you and whatever your goal is. So I didn't really get, too much into the TikToks and Snapchats. And to be honest, those newer platforms, that could be a whole nother workshop that we do. But so start with the number one, Facebook. Take one day a month to plan all your social media content for Facebook or Instagram, or if you choose Twitter and YouTube. Create content around things that are happening. What holidays are coming up? Are you having any events on your farm? Will you be somewhere? Is anything exciting? Are you harvesting? What is happening? Growing? What is happening? You're laying seeds. Start creating content and thinking about that and writing that down on spreadsheets. Maybe last year, this time, you had some really great content on social media. You can repurpose and recycle that content. You can do a throwback. You could take the same image and put another caption or another spin to it, use different sets of hashtags, put on an actual calendar spreadsheet. You don't have to create it all at once if you don't want to, or you could be out on the farm or in your business on Sunday and you could decide to take 12 different kind of photos. Well, guess what? That's 12 different days worth of content. Delegate and automate as much as possible. So Facebook, you could create a post, and in Facebook, you don't have to use a third-party app. You can just set it up to be scheduled to go on at a later time. Maybe you have a family member or someone who's working for you on a farm who is really good or would like to do social media, and you would set up some time. So maybe on Mondays, or maybe every morning between 8 and 9, they'll go on and just engage with people. So set that up ahead of time so it don't seem so overwhelming. If it's an event, have a plan. Maybe this person would do little stories on your page and this person would capture photos. So have a plan in place instead of waiting until the last minute and becoming overwhelmed. And spend no more than 15 minutes a day if possible, just engaging and sharing. 15 minutes straight, schedule it out, do your part on social media, post, and let it go. And here are some of my sources from today's presentation. I did wrap up quicker than I expected. So I guess if we have any questions.
Thank you so much, Erica. Yeah, we have a lot of great questions rolling through, and Lindsay Newsome, the director of the Virginia Association for Biological Farming, who's a sponsor on this event, will be moderating our Q&A session. So we'll definitely move into that, and we invite people to add any additional questions you have for Erica in the Q&A feature. If they're in the chat, we'll kind of try to direct you to put it in that Q&A feature if possible, so that we can make sure to keep track really well and get everyone's questions answered. So I'll pass it on to Lindsay.
Thank you, Erica. We have some great questions today. First one is, do you use hashtags on Facebook?
Yes, so the key based on 2020's data, I have not looked it up yet this year, but the key is to use between 1 and 3 hashtags on Facebook if you choose to use hashtags. So Facebook does use hashtags, but it isn't a hashtag driven app such as your Twitter or your Instagram where they have sections out specifically for tags. But yes, if you would like to, you can.
Are there ways to post one time to all of these medias at once? Time is especially valuable during growing season as a farmer, and it's hard to go from one platform to another. I know how to post from Instagram and Facebook simultaneously, but the other social media platforms I shy away from because of my time constraints.
Definitely understood. So there are third-party apps that you could use, such as Buffer and Hootsuite, just to name a couple. And you could, once you schedule your post or you put them in there, and like if it's an image, it gets kind of tricky because you want to make sure that that image renders well on all platforms. But yes, you can use those applications and it will streamline your content on different platforms.
Okay, this is from Megan. Is there a platform that can send images and posts to all of your social media sites? I've used HubSpot in the past, but it's expensive.
So Hootsuite and as I said, Hootsuite and Buffer just updated. So before you would still have to manually do Instagram, but now you're able to use it. Now there is a fee. I'm not sure how many platforms you can do for the free version. It may be 1 or 2 platforms, but if you want all the platforms, you would have to pay a fee for that.
Thank you, Erica. This is from Richard. I use my iPad and smartphone in the field to help managing my time and tasks, but can't always break every hour for a response on Facebook. What is the next best timeline to answer? Half a day, daily, or every 2, 3, or 4 hours?
In that case, okay, so the 1 hour, that's just really big on spiking your engagement, but it's not necessary. For just the best practice is to get to it when you can. I wouldn't stress out that you have to be in the field and pause to respond to a comment unless it's you could tell situational circumstances is something that you may have to get back to immediately. But other than that, I wouldn't let it go past 24 hours without responding. But definitely you don't have to make it a big deal to stop what you're doing. It's just if you see it and you can get back within that hour, do it, but don't stress about it within 24 hours.
Thank you, Erica. This is from Jan. What is the difference between adding to your story and posting?
So when you post, it goes directly onto your feed. So let me go back to this slide. Okay. So these, if you can see my screen, these are feed posts, anything that's on your timeline. This right here, this colorful circle around this means that they have stories. Your stories are here and they expire within 24 hours. Same thing with Facebook. If you make a story, it could be anything, an image, it could be text, you could share other people's posts to your story. If you use Snapchat before, it's the same thing, 24 hours is gone, or you can save it here, this section, what are called highlights, and you have the same thing on Facebook now too. So if I click Animal Lover, I'm going to see everything that she saved from her stories, but it is not cluttering the timeline. So it's still and I quote, aesthetically pleasing. Also, the size is different. So story size is the size of the actual phone versus an Instagram or Facebook post, which is square or horizontal rectangle.
Thank you, Erica. This is from Tiffany. Does scheduling your content with a site like Later get less views than posting in real time?
No. So it's actually more helpful because you can hit those sweet spots. So once you look at your own insights and based on what data shows, if you see like 1 o'clock is the best time to reach these folks, that people are online, they can see your content. But realistically, as someone mentioned before, maybe 1 o'clock you're in the field. When you schedule it, you don't have to worry about it because it's posted. And unless you choose to tag Later or the other third-party app, no one knows that it's scheduled. So if anything, if you can, I would definitely say go for scheduling versus trying to scramble the day of trying to get it up if you don't have the time to do so.
Okay, this is from Maureen. I have heard that algorithms on Facebook and Instagram don't like when businesses use Hootsuite. Have you experienced this, or do you know if that is true? Will we have better engagement if we post directly to the platforms?
The thing, no. So this is a tricky question. It does not harm the algorithm, sorry. Based on the algorithm, your engagement is not harmed by using a third party, but the social media apps definitely want you there. So with that being said, if at all possible within that hour, because they work on an hour, that first hour, an algorithm, the science, no one completely figured it out, but based on the data that's out there, within that hour, if you're able to manually do some sort of engagement on your post, you're fine. So like a comment. If someone leaves a comment or an emoji and you're able to like it, then the social media app sees that you're active, but it does not shadow ban your post. I haven't personally seen using Hootsuite or Buffer shadow ban you.
And Erica, this is from Anne. How do you know what hashtags to use?
Okay, cool question. So with hashtags, and depending on what your goal is, so as I explained earlier, if you are using hashtags to be seen by people in your local community, you would start looking at, so if it's Richmond, Virginia, RVA grows. So you start, and once you click on one, you can see some of the similar, and there's different websites that you can go to look at hashtag pods. Unfortunately, the good ones do cost. So you have to do the manual research. So see what other people in your community are using. Start searching, just type in on like Instagram, type in hashtag small farm and see what pops up and see who's posting on that. Small farms VA. Start looking at the agriculture businesses in your area or the industry and see what they're posting. Look at some Google search, and your hashtag pods will be unique from someone else's. So see what works for you. And of course, the basic things, you want to hashtag things that are really in the image. So don't put a hashtag that's irrelevant to your photo. So if it has nothing to do with family, you wouldn't hashtag anything with family, or you wouldn't hashtag a popular Instagram hashtag that has nothing to do. Just same thing with like websites. So if you put in false SEO on a website, it could actually hurt you. So with social media, if you're using hashtags that has nothing to do with your image, then it could possibly hurt you and seem spammy. So focus on what the image is, what the post is about, and use some of those industry and local hashtags that you find.
Thanks, Erica. This is from Mary. Do you put hashtags on Instagram in the caption or in the comments? Does it matter?
So before it did matter. It did matter. They preferred it to be in the caption. So when I manage social media pages, what I would do is I would write the caption and at the bottom, a dot, space, a dot, a space, and then put the hashtag. So when people are looking, you see a clean caption, and unless you click more, you don't see the hashtags. Now, based off what I've been seeing, because you can see a lot of controversial articles out about people who use hashtags in the comments, and they feel like their engagement is not as high, and some said that their engagement is the same. So what I would suggest is to do a test run. But if you do put them in your caption, that's not a bad thing, but use your space. And the reason why I put a period space is because sometimes Instagram does not recognize those spaces and they still jumble it together. So 3 period space, hashtags, you're fine, it looks clean, and you don't have anything to worry about.
Thanks, Erica. How do you determine what is a good hashtag?
So you want to do a mixture of hashtags. So you have to be realistic. If you use a broad hashtag such as agriculture, which has several, you probably won't be found as fast if you use smaller hashtags, but that does not mean that you don't use the bigger hashtags, because someone probably will find you. You just have to understand that you will probably be found quicker from a smaller hashtag. So you do a hashtag mix. So you focus on industry and local. Industry and local. And then also if you have your own hashtag, because you want people to use that, so hashtag whatever your farm name is, start putting that in there, using that, and then monitor that too. So click on your hashtag and see who's using your hashtag. Maybe someone visit your farm, went by your farm, purchased something from your farm. That's user content that you can now start using, because not everyone tags you in their posts because they may not know your @ handle, but they may have found your hashtag, or they may have even used your locality Geo Tag. So check those out and share it, but do a hashtag mix and play around with it. You don't have to use the same hashtag mix for everything. Just play around and see what works for you.
Can you also share how to find your targeted hashtags?
So, okay. Let's see if I'm able. Okay, so when you go to Instagram and on Instagram, I don't know if I can do it from the desktop version. When you hit search, and I'm looking at my phone now because I don't see it on the desktop. So you'll hit search, and in the search bar, you'll see it says top, it says accounts, and then it says tags. So under tags and places, you can start putting in different keywords. And now on Instagram, you could search keywords. You weren't able to do that before. So Facebook, you always could search keywords. Now on Instagram, so if I just type in, not even a hashtag, but if I type in ag life and I hit search, Now I'm going to get a mix of different ag life hashtags, agriculture. I'm going to get a mix of different agriculture hashtags. If I go to other farms pages in my area, or if I go to, let's say I did go to Virginia Farmers Market Instagram page, and I started clicking on some of the pages that they engage with and that they follow, and farms that they interact with, and then even the customers. Eventually you are going to find all of the hashtags that you need, and you just play around with those. But if you have to search anything, just go to your search bar, click on your tags, and just do a keyword research, and you'll find it. That's the free way to do it. There's also some apps that will probably save you some time, but you will have to pay like $20 a month for it, like Hashtagify Me is one.
Thanks, Erica.
Thank you.
This is from Jake. Can you pay for advertisements on Snapchat, or do you have to build an audience and add them as friends?
You can do Snapchat advertising. They have two different ways to do it because there's different ways that you can advertise. You can do a story advertisement, or you can have an ad on one of the main pages, which you would contact Snapchat directly to do.
Okay, and this is from Anita. Can you address the cost to sell on Instagram and Facebook, and talk about security concerns associated with doing this?
So personally, I haven't set up my own direct to Instagram shop. I've set up for a small business a shop where on the feed, it has a circle where you can click and it takes you directly to the product on their site. And from that experience, there was no security concerns because it didn't involve them purchasing through the application. Now I know some of the recent updates, Instagram do let you put a card in and pay. It's supposed to be a safe and secure feature, but being that they already have tools and features where you can just click the post and go directly to your website, I personally would do it that way, but that's just me. And that's really all that I have to say about that. Sorry.
Do you have recommendations for sharing blog posts from your business website to Facebook? Meaning, does it make sense to share blog posts, or is it better to keep content short and sweet for followers with vibrant images?
Share the blog post link onto Facebook. And on Facebook, as you know, when you share a link, sometimes the image will pop up with the blurb. So you'll take the link, or you can keep the link in, and you'll do a short introductory of what the blog post is about. But I definitely would do that because now you're bringing traction back to your blog. You're bringing your social media traffic to your website. So I think that is a great that's a great idea, a great way to streamline your content. I wouldn't put the whole entire blog post, of course, just a link and a little blurb and send people to your blog.
Okay, thank you. A few more questions here. This is from Dana. How do you get your own hashtag?
You just create it and you create it. So today you can go and have, now the thing is you have to make sure no one has it. That's the frustrating part, because sometimes you'll think something is so original and someone else is already using it. So you create one and then you suggest people to use it. Or if you want user content, so if you say, if you ever purchased anything from my farm, or if you ever been to my farm, or whatever your call to action is, make sure you use hashtag blah, blah, blah. You could put it on your marketing materials. You could say it verbally when you're out and about, use hashtag blah, blah, blah. More people are going to start to use that hashtag, and you start using it consistently in your post.
And what is a Geo Tag?
A Geo Tag is just simply your location. It's the same exact thing. If it's on Google, you can have it on Instagram. So you could have if your farm business is registered through Google, you could just type in your farm name and it'll put the address on when you're on the application, and you can see the location at the top. Some people try to get creative and create something, but I don't think that that's like beneficial to you at all, because the key is, so if, as I mentioned before, let's say you are big on like agritourism, or you are attracting people who will be coming to your area. And what I do when I go out of town, I click on the location tag of where I'm going, because I want to see real people doing real things within that community. And that's the easy way for you to pop up, or maybe within your own community. I often look up Richmond, Virginia, and you can be there. So people definitely use those location tags. So I will use that whenever possible.
Okay, thank you. We have 2 more questions here.
Okay.
What is the relationship between social media and a farm website? Do people using social media also look at websites, or are they separate groups of people?
No, so it was in my presentation, but with Instagram specifically, the data shows that a high number of people go, as you can see, that's why Instagram used their shopping features now. A lot of people on Instagram, because they're doing research and they click on these businesses, they do use the link in the bio. And based on a survey that was done last year, over 50% of those people who click on the link in the bio actually take a call to action, whether that be a purchase or subscribing to a mailing list. So it is definitely beneficial to your business. People use it. And like I said before, since Instagram is keyword driven now, and you can search keywords, that means they pull keywords from your bio. You don't have to necessarily hashtag it, or you can hashtag it in your bio now and it's found. So use those keywords. And if your call to action is to draw people to your website, point that out. You can say website link below, or always say link in bio. People definitely click that, and look at your insights. You'll probably be surprised at how many people click onto your website.
Thank you. And then here's a question from Mark from the chat. He says that they sell pasture-raised eggs and have tried the Facebook Marketplace, but they flag his posts as selling animals and do not allow him to post there. Do you have any thoughts on this?
So Facebook, you have to be, especially in agriculture, you have to be very creative in how you word things. So on Google, and I can add this. So we're going to send out an email after this with resources. I don't have it in front of me, but there is a Facebook article, because I had to use it a few months ago, about things that Facebook do not allow. And you sort of have to do a workaround with wording.
Okay, thank you, Erica. Do we have any other questions, Katie?
Nope, not that I can see.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We do have a couple upcoming events. March 12th, this Friday, with Mark Schoenbeck, Building Soil Health to Sustain Virginia's Farms and Protect Water Quality, an Organic Approach. And another VABF event is March 18th, Protecting Your Crops Series, Part 1, Understanding OMRI Certified Insecticide Options. And then on March 25th, with Virginia Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coalition, we'll have another collaborative webinar on lean farming. So hope you all will join us for those. Please consider supporting our work at VABF by making a tax-deductible donation or becoming a member today. You can go to vabf.org, our website, and sign up for our newsletter, which has, we keep you up to date on all of the events and educational opportunities we have going on, state and national sustainable ag policy, gardening and farming tips, and book reviews, recipes, and more. You can also sign up to become a member as well as make a donation for this webinar today. Thank you all for your support.
Yeah, and I just want to echo the thanks to Erica. This has been really informative, and thank you especially for answering all the questions at the end. And thank you for everyone who participated today, for sharing your questions, for being present with us. And again, as Erica mentioned, she'll be sharing some resources that we'll share with everyone who registered for the event, and we'll do that shortly. This is also recorded, and we'll let folks know when that's ready as well. We also want to invite folks to share any feedback you have for us about the webinar at the link that Garland just put in the chat, or is going to be putting in the chat very shortly. And with that, I will pass it over to Kim if you have anything to share before we close up for the day.
I do not have anything extra to add other than my thanks to you, Erica. Fantastic work, and I learned a lot, and things I tell you, it's just a whole new world out there, and I'm grateful for people like yourself with the expertise to help guide us along and helping our farmers really apply that to their farms, but clearly broader applications for a lot of us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Great. Well, we
Thank
hope
you.
you all have
That was wonderful.
great. We hope you
Thank
have a good afternoon. Okay.